Welcome back. Will Worsham joins us for this week's Speaking Legal. Will, before we go on, Independence Day question. Are you ready? Who was the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence?
Well, you got to guess John Hancock, because he had plenty of room.
You are correct.
With a big signature. Right?
You got it!
Exactly. Very good.
Very good. I just like quizzing you because you're so smart.
Yes,
you're smart on everything, Will.
Yes.
We thought we'd
You
test
know everything, Will.
You and Bruce Porter put us to shame every week.
You put Bruce and I together. We can.
Oh, I know. Bruce is over there telling us all kinds of things.
If you two ever go to a trivia night, please invite me.
Okay.
I just want to watch you two in action and then get part of the pot at the end.
I was going to say, you don't want to be in trivia, do you? You just want to watch them.
I want to watch them and take part of the money at the end.
Right, okay.
All right. Anyway, Will, are you ready for this week's question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This week's question
It's a legal question, right?
It is legal.
Okay.
Maybe patriotic, I don't know. Okay, my wife and I are concerned that our daughter will waste her inheritance as soon as she gets it. Not that we have a lot, but we want to leave it to her. However, she has not been good with money, and we hate to see her just throw away what we have worked for. Is there anything that can be to make sure that she's more responsible? That's a great question.
Yeah, it really is.
Sure. And you know, it comes up a lot, and you have to be really careful when you're thinking in this situation, because the way they maybe now, they're not living up to your expectations, you know, later they will. People mature and all that. But if you really have a strong concern, and particularly if there's a situation where maybe there's some drug abuse or alcohol abuse, and you really, really want to make sure, or even the situation where maybe they've married someone, or you're afraid they're going to marry someone that might waste that money, there absolutely are things that you can do with your estate plan to protect those assets to some extent. You have to consider the more strongly you protect assets, the less flexibility you give the person that you have left that inheritance to. And we do that through an irrevocable trust. So normally when we're talking about estate planning, we're talking about creating revocable trusts, trusts that can be revoked. And we would still do that in most situations, but the way these things work is at the point at which one of the persons or both people that are the beneficiaries, the trustees, the creators of the original revocable trust, when they've passed away, their portion or the entirety of it, if both have passed away, becomes irrevocable at that point. Now, normally, the trustee or successor trustee at that point would be instructed to just go ahead and distribute the assets for the inheritance, because that's the purpose of it. But if you have a strong concern that the person that you're going to distribute these assets to might just go to Vegas, might just decide, hey, it's time to buy that Ferrari, you know, which probably isn't the best investment. It might be a good investment. I don't know. I don't know cars that well. But let's just assume that they're going to make what you would believe to be a poor decision about that. You can leave that that remainder trust in an irrevocable state and appoint a successor trustee that's not that beneficiary that has specific instructions to distribute the assets of that irrevocable trust to that beneficiary only under certain conditions. And so those could be time-based conditions. They could be age-based conditions. They could be performance-based conditions. So you could say, hey, I've left $90,000 to this person, to my son or daughter, as the case may be. I want you to pay out interest only. Just trickle it out for a little bit until they reach the age of 30, and then you can distribute 1/3 of the principal, or $30,000 in our example. Then when they're age 35, you can give them another $30,000, and then maybe when they're 40, you can give them the final $30,000. So you can spread that distribution out over a period of their life so that they don't get it all at once, so they can't waste it all at once.
What if that person dies, though?
Well, then you'd have provisions built in there for their heirs or other remote contingent beneficiaries. So you can plan for all those contingencies. That's the real benefit of a trust. You can plan for different contingencies that may occur in those situations. You can also, like I said, have performance-based conditions. So you can say, trustee, successor trustee, you can use this money to pay for this person's rent. You can pay so much towards their grocery bills every month. You can pay for a car payment up to a certain amount of money that's very reasonable. You can pay for medical care. You can pay for education. You can pay for drug rehabilitation. And if at any point they have gone 1-2 years and been clean or free from the influence of drugs or alcohol, then you can then and only then can you distribute the principal to them.
That is really a great idea.
So that's one scenario that comes comes up is you may have a child that's gotten mixed up in something they shouldn't be involved in,
Right.
whether it be drugs, alcohol, or something else. You can say they have to prove that they've gotten away from this habit. Unfortunately, in those scenarios, sometimes they'll be able to stay clean for a year, get the inheritance, and then go right back to
Oh
it.
yeah,
Right,
that's true.
exactly.
But you can do lots of things if you need to restrict assets to the assets of a beneficiary that you're not quite sure might be mature enough to handle it.
Will, you are
all
so
at once.
smart.
Yeah, I know.
You're
Isn't
so
he?
smart.
It really is.
If you have a legal
Thank you,
question for Will, you can email him at wworship@color10.com, and he will answer your question right here on the show. Thanks so much. We'll have a great 4th of July.
Hey,
Happy
too.
4th.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, it's time for Travel Tidbit from Advanced Tour and Travel. Which performing family was selected by Boxcar Willie to continue a legacy of performing excellence at his historic theater in Branson? Stay tuned for the answer. Ozarks Live will be right back.